Today I'm going to show you what the KO2 does better than any other Groovebox, but first, let's shout out today's patron, and that shout out goes to Brian Brylo. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. Really, the entire point of this video can be narrowed down to this one line of text here on the device, specifically this one word, composer. So this says it's a 64 megabyte sampler composer. And if you didn't know, Teenage Engineering has recently discontinued this model and re-released it as a 128 megabyte sampler composer. But we don't care about the storage. We care about the word composer. You see, composer implies songwriter, not necessarily just beat maker or, jammer or looper. At least in my opinion, the KO2 is the best device on the market for composing music out of any Groovebox, even the ones that cost thousands or multiple thousands of dollars. While they are so powerful and they have so many different features, I think in terms of actual song structure and writing music, not worrying about any of the other bells and whistles, the KO2 does it best. And the way it does this is very simple. It doesn't use steps. There's no 16-step sequencer. Take the model cycles, for example, here. If we powered this on, we would see that these 16 buttons represent a 16-step sequence. Now, on the model cycles, you can actually have up to 64 steps in a sequence. You might think of that as 4 bars of music. But in the world of traditional music, that wouldn't mean anything. 64 steps, okay, well, there's so much more information you would need to figure out how many bars of music that actually is. You'd need to know the time signature, and you'd also need to know what type of note a step represents. 64 steps with a step equaling a 16th note at 4/4 would be 4 bars of music. However, 64 steps with a step equaling an 8th note at 4/4 would be 8 bars of music. It gets even more complicated if you bring in odd time signatures. You see, 64 steps in 3/4 time, as long as a step equals a 16th note, would mean that 12 steps equal 1 bar of music, which would mean 4 bars is 48 steps, which would mean 5 bars is 60 steps, which would mean that it would be 5 bars of 3/4 and then a third of an additional measure. As you can see, this format works for when you're just writing in 4/4 with, 1 to 4 bar loops. You can navigate pretty well. But as soon as you get outside that in the slightest, it kind of falls apart. That's where the KO2 really steps things up because it works directly in bars. Let me show you the advantage of this. So it all starts with the structure. You've got 4 different groups. Think of these as banks of samples. So in group A, I've got my drums. Group B, I've got a bass. Group C is this bell sound, which really needs to come down in volume. Wow. And group D, I've got a semi-obnoxious lead. Each one of these groups can have up to 99 patterns per project, and a pattern can be up to 99 measures or bars long. But the term bar is actually dependent on the time signature. We can actually go from 1/4 all the way up to 6/4. And then if we set the second number to 8th notes, we can go from 1/8 all the way to 9/8. We don't necessarily have a basic 16-step sequencer. Instead, what we have is the actual ability to tab through the count of our song, right? So here we have bar 1, beat 1. So 1, E and 2, E and 3, E and 4, E and. And then if we set up a second measure, it would actually go to 2, E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. And if we hold shift and hit plus and minus, we can jump between our measures. This makes it incredibly easy to navigate patterns and actually write music. Let's set our scene to 7/8. And by the way, scenes are collections of patterns that are saved, and you get up to 99 scenes per project as well, and each scene can have its own time signature. So this one's 7/8, so now check it out. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and. If we wanted to do that on a step sequencer that limits itself to 16 steps like this, we'd have to go, okay, so if these steps are 16th notes, then every 2 are an 8th note, so count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, meaning that step 15 is actually going to be the first step of the second measure, rather than just being able to jump to it. It just works so well on here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get the point. We're just jumping around our measures. Let's say we wanted to add some auxiliary percussion. How about like a tambourine here? But we only wanted it on the second measure. Well, we just go right here. And then I can either tab through to the individual count that I want to put it in on. Or I can just start from measure 2. That easy. The other thing that the KO2 does really well is, like I already mentioned, not limit you on measure length, because you can have up to 99 measures long on a pattern, which is just crazy. Let's go 8 measures long on the bass line. You can always see your count on the screen. Now this is just half the puzzle, because this is really cool, but the commit function and song mode take it to the next level. So at any point, I can hold shift and press main and just commit that scene. Now that is set up as scene 1 automatically, and it's copied everything over into scene 2, including giving us brand new patterns that are copies of the first pattern, but they're in a new slot, so we can modify them and not lose anything in our initial part. This makes it really easy to just fly through and come up with an initial part and then stick it into song mode, which just basically lets you set up new song sections and then assign each section to a different scene. So song section 1 is going to be scene 1, song section 2 is going to be scene 2. Anytime I hit main, I'll just jump to whatever scene I was sitting on. So let's erase our bass part here on scene 2 and come up with something new. Oh, and let's actually just make it 4 bars long there. Cool, if I wanted a new drum part, I could just erase the drums there, and I'm already often composing with 2 separate parts that were all derived from one section that I've just copied that is bar dependent. Let's go for 4 bars on the drums. I turned off quantize there for the hi-hat, so it's just a little off, forgive me. Just doing this on the fly. But now if we go to song mode, we're on section 1 here. Here comes section 2. And then song section 3 is back to scene 1, of course, which we could then go to and commit it to make it song section 3. And now we could throw in something here on group C, 8 measures. Then combine it with the punch-in effects for instant inspiration when you're jamming. It just all comes together to make this incredible songwriting experience. The fact you can also then control these sounds with like a MIDI keyboard or a drum set. I have a hard time going to any other Groovebox, really. I'm not gonna lie. When I want to write anything outside of like basic 4/4 time, or even just a basic song structure where I can use a 16-step sequencer, it just, set to 16th notes, in 4/4 time at like 120. I know I just covered the MC707, which is a really fun songwriting setup, but I still think the KO absolutely beats it if you want to get outside the box at all. So that's why I think this word composer here is key. Teenage Engineering has somehow come up with about as close to perfect of a workflow as I could imagine for actually composing music on a hardware device. This workflow is not going to click with everybody. I totally understand that. But for those that it does click with, I think this thing is an invaluable tool. Kudos to you, Teenage Engineering. You managed to do something better than any other Groovebox, including many of your own. This is awesome. I do hope you found this video informative or at least entertaining. If you did, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.